Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Nat Walsh. Thank you for stopping by. Today we are going to play a little bit with my mixed media mat. We have this Altenew Courageous You, which is humongous. It's so massive. Sorry about the little bit of glare. Just move that out of the way. So we've got this great big flower, well, two flowers. We're going to play with the squeezed lemonade, the twisted citron, and a little bit of cracked pistachio. This is a technique that has been circulating at the moment, and I may have fallen in love with it because it's just so easy. So I'm going to speed it up here. What I'm going to do is just some relatively straightforward blending, working down. My camera, this video was shot before my last video, so it sort of comes in and out for some reason. I don't know why, and I'm still trying to figure out why, but it's better than no focus. True. So we're just working through our twisted citron and blending it up into our squeezed lemonade. The little waffle flower mat is moving around on my other mat, but the cardstock isn't. That's the benefit of this little mat. This mat, it's more slippery than my other ones have been for some reason, but I still love it. I still love my waffle flower mixed media mat, and I still love my black craft mat. But yeah, anywho, we're going to work through that, just going back and forth until we have a really nice blend, and I'm quite happy with that. I'm just using a little piece of scrap cardstock just to make sure my fingers don't get too much. They get oily and they leave a little mark on it. Splatter a little bit of water. We're going to leave that for a couple of seconds, and then dab it all up. And then go back through with a little bit more water. I've dried that all off now. We're going to come in with our flower. Now I wanted a little bit of a frame, and the benefit of this stamp is purely that. Now you can do this easier than I am going to do this. If you don't take your stamp out of your MISTI before swapping over them, and put your cardstock in the same spot, stamp two pieces, and you'll figure out what I'm talking about in a minute. But stamp two pieces of cardstock, your coloured cardstock and some plain cardstock at the same time. Don't change your mind halfway through and go back and want to do it again. She no work. Well, it works, but it just doesn't quite, it's not quite so easy. Okay? So I just want to frame off my sentiment, which is going to be "You are great." And this is the part, this is where I should stamp another piece of cardstock and do that top layer, because I know where my cardstock is, because I've done one little row up and one little row across. That's what I should have done, but I didn't. So make it easier, stamp the plain white piece and your coloured piece at the same time. Just going to put a little bit of acetate down because my flower stamp is dirty. It's got a lot of inky goodness on it. I'm going to stamp that down. I'm stamping down with VersaFine black onyx ink, because it's just a nice, sharp, crisp colour. And just clean all that off. So you'll see, I don't know why I put my MISTI away there. I don't even know why I did it when I did it. So I'm going to stamp "You are great" in the middle there, so it's framed around our little border of flowers. What I'm going to do, again stamping with black onyx ink, and it just stamps up perfectly all in one go. You can't complain about that, can you? Now, yes, it's off other cardstock that I decided not to use. I was playing around with some sentiments or something like that. Anyway. So we're coming now in with our white piece of cardstock. And I did have to redo it a little bit. You may have noticed a little bit of difference of that other piece, the colour piece. So I put back the image so I could try and line it up, like lined up the stamped image to the outer image, and I've just got a little bit of temporary tape on the back of it. You can see there off to the right. So there's our two panels. So the original plan was just to have it relatively simple, but then I decided to cut it down and have it matching with the white panel. I even thought about some frames going around it, but I decided it was just too much. So you can see here I was sort of half thinking about some frames going around it. But in the end, and you could do that, that's perfectly fine. It takes it up to another level, a little bit of difficulty in doing that, but I definitely suggest doing it with wet glue because then you have a little bit of wiggle time. But for this card today, I just decided to leave it as it is. I did trim it down a little bit with some just paper rose rectangle, Aussie size rectangles, nesting rectangles. I'm going to mount that up on a little bit of black cardstock. So we're going to have a little bit of a border all the way around. We're going to mount that up on a little bit of cardstock. Yes, I've got a little bit of chocolate on the back, but you're not going to know. It's only on one side, so you know. These things we do, and we call cheating. Creative license. That's what it's called. Creative license, my friends. Just going to have a look at all my sentiments because I really wanted to have a little bit on the bottom. So we're going to use this like a proton. Think like a proton, be positive. I don't have the card in front of me. We're going to have a look in a minute. We're going to white emboss this with a bit of VersaFine, more Versamark I should think. We've got my little anti-static paddy thingy. I'm going to stamp that down. Now I'm going to quickly make sure it's just nice and straight. It ain't. Re-ink it up a little bit more. I'm going to use some white embossing powder. This is just white embossing powder I get from my local shop. I can't tell you a name, but any white embossing powder, as long as it does sort of detailed work. So think like a proton, always positive. I thought it was just a nice little encouragement card. So the final thing we're really only going to do, I've mounted that up with the strips, like the Darius strips. I think they're Darius. We've got some little clear drops here that I'm going to apply with some multi-matte medium, and that's going to be pretty much my card. I'm going to play with these things for a little bit before I figure out what I want. And we're going to do there's something graphic wise of it going from just a line through it, like a little curvy line from top right to bottom left. But that's it. That's my card. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate the time you spend with me. I hope you are well, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care. Bye.